Ladies and gentlemen,
What you gonna do, brother?
oh yeah!
Woo! What? What?
If you smell what the rock.
You got the wrong guy. I'm the dude, man.
Welcome to another edition of Around the Turnbuckle. I'm the big ALBOWSKI. He is Professor Keith, my partner in crime. And we are fresh off of Quakertown's 41st anniversary show. We were both there. Keith was ringside. I was there with the boy. We had a great time. Joining us very, very shortly is Theo Ivory. He's fixing his lighting, Keith. That's the message I just got. That's the message I just got from Mr. Ivory. He's fixing his lighting.
I feel like that's a very Theo Ivory thing to say.
You don't think it's true? Like he actually isn't fixing his lighting?
Well, no, I absolutely believe it's true. That's why it's a very Theo Ivory thing to say.
Well, before Theo comes on, I want to remind everybody that on right at the bottom of your screen right there, Saturday, July 24th, is the Legends of Hamburg Fan Fest. For all you wrestling fans out there in the area or anybody in the area, the Quakertown area, anywhere in the area, and Hamburg's not that far away. If you're in Pennsylvania, you better be there. The list of legends continues to grow. And get your tickets and information at www.legendsofhamburg.com. Keith and I will be there selling merchandise, doing on-the-spot interviews, and just having a great time. And then afterwards, we're going to check out the boys. Mark Mest and the guys from Outbreak are going to put on a show at 6 p.m. that night at the Hamburg Fieldhouse, historic Hamburg Fieldhouse. There have been many wrestlers come through the pike there, Keith. I looked it up. All kinds of guys. A lot of ECW shows were there.
Yep.
You know, and ECW is going to be represented in full force at the Hamburg Fieldhouse. Cowboy Bob Orton, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, Rockin' Robin, just to name a few.
It's going to be a good time.
It's going to be a great time had by all. Everybody's going to have a good time. Guess what? So last night or yesterday, we saw some matches in Quakertown. And we saw some breakups and shakeups. We saw the Brick House Club kind of smash up there in front of our very eyes in the form of Chad McCoy kind of leaving the nest, so to speak.
He emphatically left the nest.
Emphatically, yes. And as a result of that, Brick House has a lot to say. So
I have been following him on Facebook all day.
I've seen him on Facebook all day as well. This Saturday, Keith, he is right here on this show to speak to the events that happened this past Sunday at said event.
And where Brick House goes, I'm sure his stalker will be right behind him.
Well, we all know him. He's already made a few comments, all right? I said something nice about Flash Carter that, hey, at least the kid tried, and right away that guy was jumping down my throat. But speaking of guys, ladies and gentlemen, it's now tea time.
Yes, it is.
What's up, Theo?
Hello. You.
We're great, my man. We're great. How are you?
Good. I'm so sorry I'm late. Like, I literally just moved, so I've been like, anytime I have free time, I'm like at Target, I'm at CVS, I'm like, so I was literally in Target. I was like, can you watch my basket? I have to run home and do a podcast. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad you're here. And it was very nice to meet you last night. My son is one of your number one fans. He literally goes to WWWA events hoping that you are there, hoping that you are booked. So he loves the character. So tell us the story of Theo Ivory. Once upon a time, you were a fan like us, and once upon a time, you got into professional. So how did you get into professional wrestling in the first place? Were you a kid? Tell us that story.
Well, the beginning story is a little depressing. My mom had died,
Oh my God,
and
I'm sorry.
I was. Thank you. I was 9, and this was 2000. Now, back at that time, there was a thing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it was a thing called illegal cable.
Oh yeah,
I've heard stories, I've heard rumors of it.
yeah.
So
I'm
we
not
had
saying
one
I
of those.
partook.
No.
Of course, never an admission of guilt. Excuse me. So in the den of my grandparents' house, we had one of those boxes.
Yeah.
So basically, we had free pay-per-view. So I think my mom had been gone for like a few weeks. So I'm like laying on the couch. I'm like flipping through the channels, and I see. I think it was Chris Benoit versus I think Kurt Angle.
Okay.
It was the 2000 King of the Ring that was on
Okay.
pay-per-view.
Okay.
So I was just sitting there, and I was like super fascinated, and I
And
was
you're
like,
about
I
what,
never,
10 years old at the time?
yeah, like 9.5, just about
Okay.
10. Fascinated, like never seen anything like professional wrestling. I was like, holy crap, this is cool. Then like I think the next day again flipping through the channels, and then I see these two girls fighting. One's got red hair, one's got blonde hair, Lita and Trish Stratus.
Okay.
And my cousin and I, unfortunately, he just passed away in February. A lot of great memories with him. Thank you. I yelled his name because we love seeing girls fighting. Like anytime it was a video game, we're picking the girl characters. Like that's what we did. So he was downstairs, and he's 2 years older than me, so he's like 11. So I yelled down the stairs. I was like, "Reese, chick fight!" And he like ran upstairs and come to find out that match was the street fight between Trish Stratus and Lita from July of 2000. So it's kind of funny, like when you add dates and stuff, and then later on.
Yes.
So that's how it started. It was just a little sad kid flipping through the channels, and then was just introduced to this crazy new world that I never knew existed.
So you got heavy into it, and as you got up, when did you decide to like, hey, I want to try this?
You mean like seriously? Like, okay, I'm gonna
did you find a school who trained you, that kind of thing?
I think it was 2015. I was living in New York, so did a little research on the Google, and went to Johnny Rod's school.
Johnny Rod, yes,
that's great trainer.
Yes, great guy. So nice. Unfortunately, the tuition was completely like out of my price range at the time. So this 2015, I was 24. So just to give you like some context, so you can see like I think I was still in grad school. I moved back with my parents so that I could go to grad school. So like I'm a grad school student. I'm saving for when I leave. And then $3,000 just was not in the budget at all.
Right.
And there weren't payment plans. It was like $3,000.
Right.
So I was like, thanks, but can't. So then came Twitter. There was this guy messaged me on Twitter. He was like, "Hey, I know you're a huge wrestling fan. You should probably check out this place in Jersey." So the Monster Factory, well, the world famous Monster Factory, excuse me.
Heard of that.
They were holding, it was called the Making the Monster Challenge. Pretty much just a tryout. And the goal is to win free tuition. So it was like this was December 2015. So I was like, okay, I'll sign up. I'm 25 at this time. So I drive to Jersey, and it's snowing, and it's freezing outside. And everyone's like standing outside in front of the door, and I'm like, it's really warm in my car. But I've seen a lot of like WWE reality shows where they're like, oh, everyone was sitting in the cold and you were the one sitting in the car. So like, I don't want to be that guy. Yep, I don't want to be that guy.
Right.
So I got out, stood in the snow with everyone, did the tryout. That's where I met my best friend, Nevaeh Chantel.
Good.
So Nevaeh Chantel, she hasn't been at Triple WA yet, but gonna get her there. But I met my best friend there,
Right.
and the result was Danny Cage. She was like, you didn't win. The guy who won absolutely deserved it. Like he was ready. He was ready. But he said, you impressed us enough that we'll give you half off the tuition.
Ooh.
So I was like, wow, like, okay, I got something.
Right.
But I couldn't do it at the time because I was in my last semester of grad school.
Okay.
And I don't know if you guys know Mike Orlando.
No.
Okay, well he's a wrestler, and he was with this girl Anna Teresa. She was like Miss New York, I believe, Miss New York America, crown and everything. So they were a couple at the time. So they were commuting from New York to Jersey every day. And Anna and I were talking. She would tell me like how insane it was. You got to get off of work and then drive like 2.5 hours in traffic to come here. And then it's another 2 hours to get back home. Mind you, training's not done till 10 o'clock. So like they were doing that, and I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm in my last semester of grad school. I work a full-time job at an investment firm. I can't do it. So I said, I'll come when I graduate. So that's what happened. I packed up everything. I moved to Philly. That's why I ended up in Pennsylvania in June of 2016. Started doing training at the Monster Factory. This is like around the same time as the Cruiserweight Classic. So one of our guys, Anthony Bennett, went to the Cruiserweight Classic. He faced Tony Nese. So like this was like a really crazy time because we got to see a lot. And they were like actively still looking for like new talent at the time. So like there were seminars with like William Regal and so many important people in the business.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot of Bull Dempsey. He had just got released from NXT. He goes by Bull James on the Independence, I believe. So he came by and he did a seminar, shortly after he was released. So I was there for like 2 months. And there was some like there was like medical stuff I had going on that was family related. Like how you have stuff that runs in your family.
Yep. Right.
So I had like that going on. Wasn't a big deal, but it was something that was like, it made me think. And then seeing how much people were on the road at the time, like the traveling, and this is when the world was normal. So, these are the times people who are home 2 days a week.
Right.
I wanted to get married. Like I wanted a family. I was like, how am I going to do that if I'm on the road, 5 days a week? Like, I got to take care of my man. Like, how's this going to work? So I stepped away. So I had like 2 months of training under my belt in 2016, and I just stepped away.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, Damian Priest. He was also one of my coaches. Him and Danny Cage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
awesome.
He's the one who told me to keep my forearm. So I'll always appreciate him for that. Like we were practicing punches, and I was like,
no.
Yesterday was my niece's first show, and that was something she commented. Actually, no, it wasn't my niece. It was her little friend was commenting on it. It was her first show. She knew nothing about wrestling or anything, and she was like, "Why do some of the punches not seem to land?" And I basically didn't have a better answer than like, some people need to go back to punch school. Like, I mean, it's hard. I don't want to ruin it for them, but
I think it's important to have some conversations. Yeah. After the show, I spoke to one of the guys in the flea market. He had like this art gallery in there. Incredible. Oh my God.
Right.
So we didn't pull the curtain back, but we just kind of added more onto what people knew So if people know something, we're not going to be like, oh, here's the other part. But we're going to explain why. So we'll explain the logic of it.
Right.
So like the logic of why some punches don't connect is the average wrestler is a good person. Like nice person, not an asshole, not a jerk. So the average person really doesn't want to punch someone else in the face. And a lot of us are stronger than we realize.
Right.
Especially the women.
Right.
Especially the women. But a lot of us are stronger than we realize. And you don't realize, like, in the midst of a match, you know, you've been going however long you've been going, you know, you're feeding off the crowd, you got this adrenaline going.
Right.
You know, Nia Jax to Becky Lynch. Like, she was just so fired up that she threw a punch that was, like, so fucking strong, she didn't even realize it. So, like, that's one of the things. And you can, if you throw a punch too hard, you can literally break someone's jaw.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what people don't realize when they're like, oh, wrestling's fake. And I'm like, people have had their jaw shattered.
Yeah, you'll never hear those words out of our mouth.
I always say that to them all the time. I say, like, they know how to land to make the impact not as bad. Like, they know how to kind of spread out the blow on, and I used, I think, one of the suplexes she saw as an example, and I'm like, they're trying to hit the mat with their entire back to kind of cushion the impact, because if they hit it with just one spot or somebody hit it with enough force, you would snap somebody's spine, and you're not trying to do that. You're not trying to hurt anyone.
Being a father of 5, okay, and you met my oldest, Theo, that he's about to be 21.
Okay.
I never ever taught him any of that. When he asked me questions, I kept kayfabe. And when he asked me, when he was a kid, and he asked me, Dad, are they really hitting him? I'm like, yeah, they're hitting him. Are you kidding? Yeah. Did he really just go through the table? Yes. What did you see?
Well, I smarten them up a little.
That was
Where
me.
I want them to not be afraid.
That was me. Call it good or bad parenting, Keith.
Yeah, I want them to not be afraid, but I want them to be respectful too, and especially
don't try this at home. I taught them that too.
Yeah, and especially they've been backstage at a couple of shows. So, like, you know, one of her favorite lines is, "I like John because JT and Hat Guy are usually our ticket hookup."
Right.
So she's like, "I like John, but I hate Hat Guy."
I just love Hat Guy. Oh my gosh, I love him so much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you have to love John.
Love him so much.
You can hate him when he's out there behind the curtain, and that's another funny thing. We have you on here. I just want to tell a story quick, and then we'll get to Greg's question. But I actually have the opposite, where Alan's son is your biggest fan, and she is absolutely against you, because a couple of shows ago you pointed right at her. You told her hair was stupid.
Your hair was
stupid.
stupid.
Oh my God, the blue hair.
Yes,
the blue
and
hair.
she has never forgiven you for that.
Oh my gosh, I have to give her a hug. I'm so sorry.
You do. Like, we do it all in fun. She
oh my gosh,
your hair is stupid
to a degree, but yeah, like. And
I thought that was so cheesy. I was like, oh my God, did I really just tell her hair is stupid? But I'm like, it worked. So
it does work.
It does work.
So this guy here is a fellow wrestler, wrestles down in Tennessee.
Out and patted me on the head.
And his name is Greg Thundercat Winters, and he asks, what is your finisher?
So I have 2. Remember when the SmackDown games evolved and everyone had 2 finishers?
Right.
Instead of the one. So my first finisher is called the Gory Bomb.
Okay.
I am gonna alter it for a very big moment.
Okay.
So there's gonna be a very big moment that'll happen. I don't know when it'll happen, but it will happen.
Awesome.
And you guys are gonna think I'm going for the Gory Bomb, but I'm gonna pull out something a little different.
Okay. There you go.
And the second one, I call it the Poison Ivory Reloaded.
The Poison Ivory Reloaded.
I love it.
So if you guys saw my match last night,
Yeah.
It was me versus Nico Gray versus Merrick Miami.
Eric Miami, right?
So I hit Nico with a roundhouse kick. Some people may call it a chick kick. Some people may call it a bombshell. Some people may call it, I don't know. But so it was a funny story. Not even a funny story. I just, because the Poison Ivy Reloaded. So typically the person will duck that roundhouse, but when they come up, I hit them with like a spinning back kick.
Right.
Sort of like a black mass without the leg slap.
Right. No leg slap anymore.
Yep. So it's a roundhouse they duck, and then I hit them with the black mass without the leg slap.
Got it.
And then they spin around, and then I catch them with a snapman driver.
Got it. There it is, Greg. I hope that was your answer, Greg. All right. So tell us the origin of the Tea Time Champion.
Yes.
Oh, the championship?
Yes.
Where did that come about? Where did you come up with that? Where did this evil side of you come from?
Last summer, I want to say like June or July. As everyone knows, you know, the pandemic was like running wild. So we couldn't run Dojo Wars. Like we couldn't run Dojo Wars. Obviously,
Right.
You couldn't have people in attendance. But there were some other issues regarding Dojo Wars. So we were like, all right, we're just gonna leave that alone, and we're gonna do our own thing.
Right.
So it was, I can't thank them enough. It was Kurt Bale and Joe Gacy, who said we're gonna set up like our own little fed. You know, we're gonna start off on Patreon, and then we'll make it all public on YouTube. So that's how we started. That's how We Want Wrestling got started.
Okay.
It was giving us something to do as the wrestlers, and of course giving fans content, because the content at that time had like just plummeted because nobody really knew what to do.
This show came from the pandemic. We started it a year ago in May, and that's what happened. It was supposed to be a bunch of guys sitting around talking about wrestling, and then we ended up meeting a lot of indie stars, and we ended up making new friends, and we ended up sitting here talking to Theo Ivory, which is awesome.
Here you are.
But go ahead.
So yeah, that's how it started. Also, Joe just got signed by NXT a few months ago.
Right.
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
Big shout out to him. So I want to say I had started, you know, I have my own YouTube show, Tea Time with Theo. So I just started doing I think this was the second season. So I was like, all right, time for like season 2. What are we going to do? So I was thinking, I don't know what made me think of like having my own belt. I don't know what it was. I low-key felt like part of it is like a running gag. It'll be so funny, and it'll be so ridiculous. Like people will be like, "Oh, is this guy serious? Like he really like is he serious?" So it was part that, and then part little insecurity. Maybe I'll never be a champion. I don't know. Maybe nobody will feel I'm worthy. So you know what? I'm gonna have my moment. I feel like I'm a champion, damn it. So
there you go.
Do it. It's something I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to go out and hold a belt. Yeah. So that is like the little kid in me, like wanting to like living my dream. That's really what it's about. It's just like that little kid wanting to like come out and like, you know, pat the belt that's around your waist and like hold it up. Like
that's fantastic little answer. That is a fantastic answer.
I mean, look, we've all done that, right? We've all done like wrestling around the house or something, and we made up our own championships.
Yeah,
put like tinfoil on a real belt or something, and you know, made up some ridiculous name for it and whatnot. So I mean, yeah, like every fan can relate to that. We all made up our own titles and our own federations.
We've all done it.
Yeah,
we've all done it, and it's so funny. October, I went to the Poconos for my cousin's birthday, and her boyfriend is, I think he's in like his late 40s,
Yeah.
And I had my belt with me because I was like, I don't know what the environment's gonna be like. It may be a good environment for a tea time, so let me just bring the belt. And he picked up the belt and he was like, wow, like this is what it's really like. And like we don't realize, like, even if you may not watch it now, at some point every boy has watched wrestling.
Right.
Every boy knows Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah. Everybody knows the Stone Cold Stunner. Everyone knows everybody knows the Undertaker.
Right.
Like there's certain people, even if you've never watched wrestling, like you just know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So like for him, that was like a moment like, oh wow, like this is really about, and I'm like, that's kind of what wrestling is about, giving people those moments.
Yes.
Where it's like, wow.
I'll tell you one thing. Every time Keith and I see you wrestle, and we talked about it many times, like we were like, I want to interview him because I want to know what's inside that head, because when he does it, it's so natural for you to come out and, play to the crowd. Like you're one of those heels that thinks they should be cheering you, but then you pull back and you're like, no, I don't like you people at all. You know what I mean?
It's like you give them a chance and then you just go, no, wait, on second thought. I love that, where you're almost like, yeah, I'm gonna high five. Oh no, you're poor.
No,
I'm not
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't like what you're wearing right there. So no, you're not gonna touch me right now.
Yeah, no, your hair is stupid. I can't be nice to you.
That was a feedback from one of my coaches, Nate Carter. Because I used to do like the same thing that I do now, but I would actually, like the first section, I'd be like, hey, and then I go to the next section, and then I do my normal shtick.
Mm-hmm.
But he said you don't want to do that, because what you do is you alienate the crowd.
Mm.
So you have this little section over here who you actually touched. They're cheering for you, but this entire section over here is booing you because you didn't touch them. He was like, in time they're gonna cancel each other out, and you don't even really know what it is. So he was like, either you go one way or you go the other.
Right.
So I realized that works. And sorry, I didn't answer your question. So I had a title replica at home, and I just went to Joe and I said, hey Joe, can I have a belt? And he said, okay, sure. And then Nate came behind and he said, I think it's a great idea. Like you're definitely someone who can make it work. Think Ted DiBiase in the $1 Million Championship.
Sure.
Yeah.
He said, try to make it like the most important thing, almost like a ridiculous level of importance. He was like, try to make it that.
Right.
So that's what I do. So that's what I try to do until it runs its course and it's like, okay,
And why the UK?
Put you back on the show.
And why the UK? Just because that's tea time and is an important thing over there, or why the UK Tea Time Championship?
Well, no, I'm actually British.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, did.
But it adds, right? Because I mean, no matter how evolved we get and how much we say, like, oh, we're all good politically correct people. You go to wrestling and the easiest heat is, I'm not from here. I'm from a different country.
For people to treat you as
values to you,
So stupid. This character wasn't even planned.
Right.
This character was an accident. I pulled this character out of my ass.
But it's evolving, though. It's like evolving. It's gaining traction.
It is, because what you do that's so good is you make people pay attention to you. Like, you will not be ignored when you're out there. That's the first thing that jumps out to me. And I say this to everybody all the time, that this is one of the things that I think is missing at a lot of the corporate level, which is insane, because you would think those are the guys that are like, they're the polished best professionals, but they're not connecting the way someone like you is, because you're going out there and you're basically walking that tightrope of like, you're going to pay attention to me. You're going to give me a reaction. Either you're going to hate what I'm doing or you're going to love me. Sometimes you switch from one to the other. I had my other niece that was sitting behind me. This was her first wrestling show ever. She used to make fun of me when she was younger. She's like, "Oh, you like wrestling? You're one of those people?" And of course, her mom got into it and was like, "Yeah, honey, he's one of those people." And now Karma caught up, and he's dating an aspiring wrestler. So she went for
Look at
him.
that.
Yeah, and you came out, and she's like, "Oh, I really like this guy. I like his energy." And about 5 to 10 minutes in, you were doing your act and you were starting to wrestle, and she just turned on you. She was just like, "Yeah, you know what? Now I don't want anyone to win. Maybe the referee can win. I don't know. I'm not vibing with any of these guys." So I'm like, that's the point. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to take anything you like about him, and he's trying to push it just enough so that you're going to go, "Yeah, no, yeah, he wants your hate. Give it to him.
Get over here."
Now, I don't know if you know this about me, Theo, but I openly root for the heels all the time.
Yeah, he's that guy.
All the time. I'm that guy. All right. I root for the bad guy in movies. You know,
Me too.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, kill them all.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So
the villain is more interesting.
Right. So the first time I saw you, I was like, I had that exact reaction that you said that you wanted from everybody, which is this guy for real? and then you started, and the whole thing before, and then after you're done with your spiel and you get them all riled up and irritated, then you can actually wrestle on top of that.
That was the goal. That was the goal. I've always wanted to. Can I curse on this show?
Of course. We're on YouTube and it's rated for adults.
Okay. So I've always wanted to be like, I'm kind of a shit talker in real life. Only if you get me there.
You know.
Only if you get me there. But like, I've always wanted to be that person that just says like, whatever.
Right.
Like specifically in my match last night, after I hit Nico with the roundhouse kick, Merrick threw me out and pinned Nico and got the pinfall, eliminated Nico, so he stole my thunder. But one thing I love about my character is the "do you know who I am" little shtick. And I know Merrick, his character is like very cocky, very arrogant. So
I love that character though.
I love it too.
Oh yeah,
love him behind the scenes too. He's a great guy.
Yeah,
he made me feel great last night because I kind of messed up.
Listen, I saw him wrestle I saw him wrestle Leo Sweet. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So I love the evolution of him and what he is now, and now this whole Matt Cardona thing. I'm so excited for him.
Yeah.
Yes, we were talking about that last night. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go cut a promo on Chelsea. I said she might be here anyway. I'm like, let's wrestle. Shit.
Nice.
I'll take that. I'm prettier.
Do you notice that you're followed on Twitter by a lot of professional wrestlers?
Yes.
Like, I mean, like big name, like John Cena. Like Sonny, John Cena follows you. Sonny Kiss.
I know Sonny personally.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, funny thing is, 2016, we kept like crossing, you know, because I think at the time he was with Lucha Underground.
Right.
I think at that time, but we kept crossing, so we never physically met, but we, you know, connected on social media. And we just met finally for the first time this WrestleMania weekend.
Nice.
Awesome.
So you've been really at it hot and heavy for like about, say, 5 years, right?
No. 2
hot and heavy? Like 2 where you're wrestling at least once or twice a month? Like how often do you wrestle?
So remember, when I said 2016, I only trained at the Monster Factory for 2 months.
Oh, wow.
That was it. So like when I left, it wasn't like, oh, I'm still going to this school. No, like I left, I got married, found me a husband, all that.
Right. Congrats on that.
Like, we're getting divorced, but it's okay. It was a blessing. in terms of figuring out like what I want for my life.
There you go.
But yeah, no, July 2019. Nevaeh, again, my best friend, she was wrestling for Dojo Wars like every week.
Okay.
And she was like, you should come, you should come, you should come. And I was like, well, first of all, I used to go to every match she had at the Monster Factory I went to. That's how you support your best friend. You go to all their matches.
Right.
I think I missed only one match of hers, but she's like, you should come, you should come. And I was like, I'll think about it. And then this is becoming like a recurring thing with me. My cousin died. So I was like, life is short. Let me just go check it out. I went and I checked it out, met some amazing people. And they were like, you should come to training. And I was like, okay. I still have my wrestling shoes and my knee pads. I mean, they were a little dusty, so I had to, dust them off. But I had wowed everybody with a promo. And it was a promo that I didn't plan. It was a promo that I had to do on the spot because the guy that went in front of me, you guys watch SmackDown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember when Apollo Crews first came out with like the two soldiers?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay. So the one standing to his right, his name is Matrick. So he was going in front of me in promo class. And his character is like a pimp, like Sweet Daddy Trick. And Matrick is like a sweet, down south Southern boy. So he's so chill. Like he's one of the nicest people in the world. I can't say enough good things about him, but he's so chill. He's so chill. But he pulls out like this Godfather-like character that was so unlike him. And it was amazing because number one, the character was good. It was engaging, but just the complete transformation of Matrick to Sweet Daddy Trick. And now he's in NXT and on SmackDown. Like, look at that.
I got a comment for you. It says, "Love you, Theo."
I love you too. Thank you.
Yeah,
so I had
going. I'm sorry.
My promo. It's okay. I had a promo typed up in my phone, and I was like, "Fuck that!" Like, I can't say no inspirational shit after going after the Godfather's son. Like, what? I was like, oh my god. I was like, okay, what can I do? So I started thinking like outlandish characters. I'm like, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And I was like, okay. I was like, I do the whole British thing. I was like, oh, let me try that. So I did that. And DJ Hot is like, he said, I think I speak for everyone here. Is that accent real? And I'm like, yeah. They just never use it. So that's how it started.
Right.
I was challenged to knock it out the park without being challenged. The challenge was in front of me, and I was like, this guy has like an 8-pack. He's like 6'3" tall. He's a former football player. And on top of that, he has charisma out of this world. And we're all like green as like fresh spring grass green. Like we're all like smack on ass baby brand new at this point. So this isn't like something that he's
I'm never gonna forget that line. You realize? I don't mean to interrupt you.
What, smack on a baby ass brand new?
Smack your baby's ass brand new. I'm using that, Keith. All right, go ahead.
I'm
sorry.
I know you're gonna steal it.
Like that's how new we are. So I want people to understand this wasn't something that like he's been doing on a show for months, and this was something like it was in him. And I was like, okay. Knowing wrestling, I thought about the lineup of a show.
Yeah.
Like everyone says Hogan and Rock should have main evented WrestleMania 18.
Okay.
So hearing that mindset, it's like they feel like they just probably saw the greatest wrestling match ever.
Right.
They don't care about the match that comes behind it.
Right.
So I'm thinking to myself, they just saw this goddamn Pimp Daddy / Magic Mike damn dude right here. How am I gonna possibly get their attention?
Right.
Because he's walking away and they're gonna be following him. How am I gonna get them to be like, oh wait, who's that?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I was like, there's no Black British people on the scene. Yes. So I just tried it. I didn't have anything written out because I was after him and I had to erase everything. I'm like, well, shit, damn being inspirational, damn being, everything I went through in life and my hardships and fighting and like, just screw that. The hell. I have to be a British asshole. That's what people don't like, but they love it. So.
But you love.
That's gonna sell the movie or something. Screw being inspirational. I'm just gonna be a British asshole. It's easier. Love it.
It works. It works.
Like
all right, so
you come out and people cannot ignore you. They can't. You won't let them.
Who are some of the
connection? You force it.
Who are some of the people that you've worked with in the ring that you felt like you had the best chemistry with?
I really love working with Merrick. This is the second triple threat match they booked us in like back to back.
Right.
Like the last show we were in another triple threat for his title.
Right.
Even like there was like a mess up in our match last night, which was on me.
Which I didn't see. So
okay, so I feel like I was like, what's happening? But I think with the finish, everyone was so concerned about me after the finish of the match. And they were like, oh my God, like, is your nose broken? There were people on the side that were like, that's what you get. Like, I hope he broke it. Like, they were like, that's what you get.
That's real heat.
There was this
that's
woman.
Real heat.
There was this woman, like, she's like, yep, and that's what you get for running your mouth so much. Because I had my hands up like this whole time. Like, I had my nose covered the whole time.
Right.
But that was like a crazy connection that was safe.
Yeah.
Because, like, all this is good.
Right.
I didn't feel anything. So, super safe connection. But I had messed up because we were supposed to do a particular sequence and I forgot my spot.
Right.
So it was like,
Do you prefer? We've been asking this a lot lately because we don't really try to dive into behind the scenes stuff. But like, do you prefer calling a match in the ring or having somebody else call a match in the ring, or do you prefer going over it behind the scenes before you actually perform?
So it depends. So you guys
on the opponent?
Yes, I would say on the opponent. You guys have seen Nico Gray twice. Mm-hmm. We trained together at CZW, so I've known Nico since my day one at CZW. What people don't know about Nico, because I think a lot of people can say, like, just like all of us, he's learning, he's getting better, he's good at what he does, he's engaging. A lot of people don't know Nico's autistic.
Oh yeah,
really?
Yeah, a lot of people would not know that.
No.
So that I'm so inspired by him, and like he and I have this crazy connection. He and I wrestled a 7-minute training match completely on the fly. I don't know what it is about Nico and I, but we have like this weird synergy,
right?
Where neither of us work fast.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because he's like me, I'm slow and methodical and cocky.
Right.
He's slow, methodical, and calculating. Because he has like this, basically, if you see this man walking by in your street, you closing your curtains.
Yeah.
He has that kind of
it's an aura.
Demeanor in the ring. Exactly. Like he stalks and all that. So I think our styles are a part of it. because we don't work fast. So we have time to be like, okay, you know, girl clothesline, or, you know, all right, we're going to do this and then we're going to do that. It's just something about Nico.
Right.
But that's someone that I can call it in the ring with and know that it's going to be good. I know there are some people that do call it in the ring. Like, they can be great wrestlers. So this is me being against completely calling it in the ring.
Right.
Against people you don't know, because everyone was trained different.
Right.
Right.
So Jimmy Rave is one of my coaches as well. And he taught me the art of letting everything register.
Right.
So you just hit like one big move. Why are you going to go straight into like another move? Like, let the
right
people,
up Keith's alley. You just went right up Keith's alley.
Like, let the people feel what just happened.
Right.
Exactly.
So Jimmy is like really big on teaching that.
Yeah.
But so like I went to AR Fox's school when I was staying in Atlanta for a few months, and they're all like boom, 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 like action, 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 like keeping foot on the gas.
Yeah.
And that's just a different style.
Yeah.
Because there's fans that love everything. There's fans that love technical wrestling. There's fans that love daredevil wrestling. They want to see dives and all that stuff.
Right.
You have people that want to come see characters like me.
Working
like,
holds.
They don't really
Thank you, Charles. Yeah. Working holds.
Yep, working holds. Not everybody knows that. Not everyone was trained that way.
Right.
So like just going to like Fox's school, it put me in the mindset of, okay, if I were to work one of these guys in a match, they may have a fast-paced mindset, and I don't, because I'm more about creating moments that you'll remember versus showing my athleticism.
Right.
Nothing against that. I wish I could do half the shit that they could do. But that's their strong suit, is their athleticism. So they want to show that off. My strong suit is my character. So I want to show that off, you know?
Right. All right. So you mentioned Merrick Miami, and we're really excited. We're all really excited that he's going to be taking on Matt Cardona on September 25th in Quakertown. But if Theo Ivory could have a dream match against anybody, you mentioned Chelsea earlier, but is there anybody that springs to mind that you're like, I would die to go and be in the ring?
This shows that you're not real fans and you don't do your homework.
What homework is that?
Read. That's difficult for you. You need to read. If you go on my social media, literally 3 days ago, I posted my dream opponent. You don't see that.
Alan?
See, your son's fired. He's so fired. I'm kidding with you guys. But my dream opponent, dream match, and I'm speaking it into existence.
Okay.
I will be wrestling Natalya at WrestleMania for the Cruiserweight Championship.
Did he say Natalya?
She's not the only. Yes, Natalya.
Natalya. Okay. Why the Cruiserweight Championship?
Because one thing that bothered me, Jacqueline is the only woman in WWE to hold the Cruiserweight title.
Okay.
And I feel like that should be a huge thing, but it's like never talked about. Like even in her Hall of Fame package, I don't even think they mentioned it.
Right.
And that really bothered me because it's like not only is she a woman, but she's a Black woman.
Right.
And it's like, why would you deliberately ignore that?
Right.
Also, I feel like because wrestling on the independent scene, you wrestle some goddamn women and you're like, bro, you hit harder than the damn men.
Because they almost have to, right, to get that same level of respect, because they're coming out there and they kind of know, not even in the back of their mind, like, there's going to be people that are going to be like, oh, girl showed up. Pee break. That's my pee break match. You know,
it's a hard world. The independent scene for women's wrestling is a hard world.
I have a funny comeback for that. For people like, oh, you know, they probably almost have to hit harder than that. No, I said if you don't think a girl could beat a boy, if a woman could beat a guy or a boy, you obviously never been to the hood.
There you go.
Because listen, my cousins, my female cousins, I would not want to fight a single one of them, even the ones that are smaller than me. No, I'm so serious. So like when people say that, I'm like, just because women are smaller and they have different body types doesn't mean they're not just as strong. Because when you're emotional, that makes you stronger.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they may not have like us, we're just like, oh, I'll just throw a punch. But for them, like they're angry, they're pissed. And whenever you're like you're angry or pissed, that makes you stronger. So yes. And everyone has said she's the best, you know, women's like wrestler on the roster, like in terms of wrestling, technical mat wrestling and things like that. And
Natalya,
I have a lot of
you're talking Natalya.
Yes, Natalya.
Right.
I have a lot of respect for that because they said like she could. They said when they say this about a guy, it's a great thing. Like they said, AJ Styles could have a good match with a broomstick.
Right.
And then they say the same thing about Natalya, and I'm like, I think that's amazing to have that level of skill. That even if a person is as green as the goddamn spring grass, you still make them look credible. Like that says a lot about you. And I'm a mat-based wrestler, so like I love chaining, like I love transitions, I love holds, I love just letting the crowd soak it in.
That's an old school mentality that we don't see anymore.
It's like, oh my God, they're here. Oh my God, he's flipping off of here.
Right.
Oh shit. Oh my God, he's on the ropes. He's springboarding. Oh crap.
Right.
And I think that's going to be the next revolution, is going back to doing holds, doing more mat-based stuff, because almost everybody else is
upsetting you.
No, but I'm not trying to say it in a way to be.
No. My son Alan is sitting right over there.
Yeah,
and you know how Alan is about AEW and the super kick party and flippy hippie stuff, and then his boy Theo Ivory's over here talking old school, telling a story, soaking in that moment, letting the crowd soak in the moment, which we've been preaching forever. And he's like, "No, Dad, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong." And Theo Ivory says it now. Now we're right.
But I also say too,
it's going to work, because if everybody zigs, the guys that zag are going to automatically get more of the attention, because like I'm getting all this zigging. I see a lot of zigging, but that zag, I haven't seen that zag before. That's interesting because it's not what everybody else is doing.
I think it's awesome that Theo Ivory has that mentality at his age and his step in the game, because
I'm 30. My age.
I know.
I'm 30.
But even at 30, even 30-year-olds still haven't got that through their head. What you just said about letting them soak it in and not going from this to this to this to this to this to this in less than 3 minutes. You know what I mean?
You know why? You know why I'm like that? Because if you ask every wrestling fan, what's your favorite wrestling moment? Chances are it's not a match. It's, for some people, it's Austin's 316 promo.
Right.
For some people, it's when Kane unmasked.
Right.
Like, but it's always a moment.
For Keith, it's when The Undertaker attacked the Ultimate Warrior on the funeral parlor.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
For me, it's when Piper smashed Snook over the head with a coconut.
With the coconut.
Okay, so
nice.
But
nice. But that
shows you my age, pal.
But it's a moment, you know. It's not, and I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way, because there's something for everybody. I'm just speaking for myself and why I chose this lane. when you ask people what is like their favorite moment, what was their favorite this, their favorite that, chances are they're not going to tell you it was a move or it was a dive. It was a moment.
Right.
Like let's say someone's bleeding and it's like, oh, my favorite moment in the match is when he wipes his hand with the blood and then he like wipes his hand all over his face. Like, that's a moment. Like, that's not a move. And I think people forget, sorry, my nose rang. But I think people forget that about wrestling. It's not all about the moves. You do 200 moves in a match.
Right.
How many moves are the fans actually going to remember?
Charles asked you, why are there so many dives in matches these days? Like, suicide dive is a really popular thing to do.
So, to go back to Jimmy Rave, who is literally like a wrestling encyclopedia, he's like me when it comes to certain things. He breaks it down and he makes you say it. And then he says, now, did that make sense?
Right.
So he said to us, he said, what's the name of that move? And we said suicide dive. And he was like, okay, now, if it's a suicide dive, sounds pretty dangerous, right?
Right.
Sounds pretty risky, right?
Right.
Okay, so why would you do a suicide dive that's not going to mean anything?
Exactly.
Like, you're going to do a suicide dive and then you're going to wrestle another 8 minutes. What was the purpose of the suicide dive? And I've always been the same way too. I think this was around 2016 where this dive stuff started. I think it just became like a new way to pop the crowd, to be honest.
Right.
Which is, we're always looking for new ways to like get the fans engaged. So I think that was like a new way to pop the crowd. It also gave a lot of guys an opportunity to show their athleticism.
Yeah.
And it made some people step up because they were like, well, damn, you know, all the guys here can do dives and do springboards and I can't. So really, just to answer Charles's question, I think dives became a popular thing. And some people, they feel like instead of having, they want that pop from the crowd. They want that, oh. For me, I don't want that. I want you to walk away remembering my match.
Right.
I want you to come and say, I was thoroughly entertained by Theo.
Well,
because if there's 8 matches on the card, chances are 4 of them are going to have dives.
True. And the other thing I worry about in that too is, like you just said, you do this crazy risky move and you wrestle for another 8 minutes. Now you have to come up with a finish. Now the pressure is, I already did this one crazy ass thing. It didn't put him away. Now I'm going to have to come up with something even crazier and stupider to put him away.
Wait, that they're going to kick out of.
That they're probably going to kick out of. So at some point now it's coming to, okay, I'm going to have to just legitimately break somebody's neck or something else or shoot them with a gun to get them to stay down. Like, the danger level is just going up and up and up. And I mean, when you're young, you're like, oh, this is so cool. And maybe you're a little stupid and you think like, yeah, nobody's getting hurt, so it's fine. But you get older, like I'm getting older, and you realize, wait a minute, everybody's getting hurt to some degree here. And you can't drop a man on his head and not have something bad happen. So I almost feel like the audience should kind of be smartening up a little more to this stuff and going like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't reward the idea of, oh, let's just really go out there and kill each other. You know,
well, no, because remember, they're there.
Likewise, getting older. We're all getting older, Charles.
They're there to be entertained. So, you know, I wouldn't put that on the audience. I will put that on the wrestler. Like, the reason why I don't do certain things is because I used to play basketball when I was in junior high, and I grew up in Florida. So I had an orange tree in the front of my house that I used to climb to the top of and jump out of every day. I used to climb to the roof and jump off the roof. Like, I don't have the best knees in the business. I've never had an issue with them, thank God.
Right.
I pray that I never do. But I'm someone that knows, like, I've, already put some miles on these knees of mine. So I'm not going to, like, when I see people do, like, a move off the top rope and they land on their feet, I cringe every
Right.
time. I'm like, oh my God, your cartilage.
Right.
So I don't do things like that because I'm like,
You
if
don't
I'm
have
gonna
to.
miss the move and
'Cause you
you're
don't
gonna
have
move
to.
out of the way, what's the point? Like, what did it really add to the match?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you what, Keith. He talks about being thoroughly entertained. This interview, I have been thoroughly entertained.
Absolutely.
This interview, I am going to remember. And this is all the
Thank
things that
you.
Theo Ivory wants. He wants you to remember his match. He wants you to be thoroughly entertained, but at the same time, he enjoys the piss out of irritating people too.
Yeah.
So, man, we're gonna get you out of here because we're at the top of the hour.
Okay.
But before we go, is there anything that you would like to promote, or where we're going to see you next? I believe you're going to be at the next WWA event in July, I'm sure.
Yes. So I will be at the next WWA event. I don't know if is that July 25th? Did he say?
I think he said July 25th. Yeah.
The last Saturday in July.
The last Saturday in July, yes.
Last Saturday in July. I'll be there. July 10th, I'll be doing Paris is Bumping with Billy Dixon.
Okay.
Dream come true for me.
Really?
Yeah. Billy is he's a Black gay man. So Paris is Bumping is his, fed. That's his company. It's very popular. It combines like the ballroom scene with wrestling. So I've always wanted to be a part of it. So to know that I've worked myself up to a level to where Billy felt me worthy to be part of it, it's like, yes, like I'm doing something right. Like, all right, let's keep going. So that's coming up July 10th. Also I think July, I'll probably have to move it to the 26th of July. I have a charity event coming up in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's awesome.
Anyone who knows me, they know that usually every month or every other month, the merch that I sell on What a Maneuver, I donate 100% of the proceeds to whatever charity I choose that month.
That's awesome.
So there was a time recently where I had to actually spend a night in a shelter. And I remember like the guys that were there, they weren't eating, but their meal was like a sandwich in a bag and like a box of milk. And I was like, ew. I had went to McDonald's because I was hungry. But I don't know what happened, but I had lost my appetite. So I bought 5 big chickens because I was like, I'm going to be hungry. But I had lost my appetite. And I was like, just like someone, would you like one? And they were like, oh my God, thank you so much. And I'm like, something so small as like $1 McChicken that shows you like they're not even eating like decent people. So the charity event that I have, it's the last weekend in July. I gather with a few wrestlers, Casey Catal, Gabby Gilbert, Keyman, his girlfriend Maggie, referee Nick Shin, he's donated. So I'm going to go to, hopefully, to Station House in Philadelphia, and we're going to serve like home cooked food. It's going to be rice, macaroni and cheese, greens, chicken. Somebody might be cooking pork. I don't know. I don't do that pork. So that's going to be over there. We're going to have soda, water, juice for them. Just something to make them feel like they're people because everyone's situation is different.
Yep.
So, when you're homeless, people don't really treat you very kind.
Right.
So I want them to, taste the food and be like, oh man, I miss this. So they know, like, they have something to look forward to. And they know that there's people out there that care about them.
That's great.
That's commendable. That's awesome, man. So then you got that. That's July 10th, and then you have probably Triple WA at the end of July, Saturday, the last Saturday in July. Keith and I will probably be there, so we'll probably see you. I may or may not bring the lad, who is a big fan of yours. We'll see.
Bring the lad.
If we get out there, I've got to get the whole troop because they demand to come every time now. They're hooked.
And we're gonna get you out of here, my man. With is there any question you want to ask us?
I was actually gonna ask you guys that.
Oh.
Outside of the scope of the show, like, is there something that you guys, like, personally, want to know or want to ask?
About you?
Yes. I'm turning it around.
Turn it around.
He is. He's going around the turnbuckle. All right. All right. If you weren't...
By the way, I don't get offended very easily, so...
I'm not trying to offend.
Okay, I'm just saying.
I'm not trying to offend you. I understand that
most get offended easily.
I understand that most independent wrestlers have what they call a shoot job. Okay, but in your social media, I saw mentions of acting and other things that you've dabbled in. So if you weren't wrestling plus your shoot job, what is your what is your dream job that you would want to land?
Dream job or what would I want to do?
That's as personal as I could get.
Okay. So dream job or what would I want to do with my life?
Both. Answer both.
So taking wrestling out of the equation.
Taking wrestling out of the equation. If you never wrestled.
I would probably go back to my original goal, which was to be an obstetrician.
Okay. There you go.
I'm fascinated by the creation of life. Like it's fascinating to me.
Okay.
So I wasn't cool for that.
You're telling me you'd be an OBGYN basically?
Yeah, I was in school for it. I did an internship for it. And then I switched to accounting. So big change.
That's where the slap the babies behind new phrase came. That's where it comes from. It came from somewhere.
I didn't even make that connection. I just said it because it made sense.
I just made that connection.
Look at you, Sherlock.
Put this guy over.
I'm never going to forget that. Believe me. I'm never going to forget that. All right. I won't. I just will not forget. I will never forget you said that, and that's going to follow me forever. All right. So that was the answer to one of those questions. That was the answer to what you would want to be doing, right?
Yes.
So what's the answer to the other question?
Oh no, that was the answer to like the dream job.
Oh, dream job. Okay.
That's like my dream job.
All right.
What I would love to do with my life if I could.
Yes.
I would want to be a stay-at-home dad.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
Oh.
But somebody forgot to tell my wife to get rich. So.
But yeah, I would absolutely love to be a stay-at-home dad.
You like children?
Yes, I come from a really big family where we like all had to like raise each other.
Right.
So like that's why I love children so much. I was a stay-at-home uncle like the last few months. And there's nothing more fascinating and fulfilling than seeing how like a baby attaches, him or herself to you. They feel that security with you.
Right.
And then just seeing like their development and their milestones. Like it's out of this world.
My oldest is about to be 21, but my youngest is 4. So
you got the whole spectrum.
I do. I do. And I got 3 boys and 2 girls.
I'm not a fan of changing diapers. I will do everything else, but I'm sorry, those shitty diapers.
There it goes.
Because it's too much. You gotta make sure.
It's a lot. It is a lot.
Like, where's your daddy? Tell him come change this. I ain't doing it. Not
All right.
doing it.
Keith, you got any parting gifts for Mr. Ivory?
One thing I am curious about, and I'm sure you kind of thought about this long term. Do you feel like when Theo Ivory, as he is now, if that gets to a place where it runs its course, do you have an idea in your head to maybe bring more of that inspiring character, maybe turn babyface and bring more of that real inspiration in? Because I'm not saying you're not doing a great job now, because you are. But I mean, I think that's something really good for you long term to kind of have that in your back pocket of like, hey, if I need to change it up, I've got this complete 180 I can do to really get people on my side. Because I mean, you have just an amazing story of how
That's an interesting question.
out of all this tragedy, you find
Yeah.
wrestling. You're almost destined to be part of wrestling, because it seems like at every terrible moment in your life, here comes wrestling to try to be something positive.
That's a really good point. I like the way you cap that off.
That's awesome, Keith. Good stuff.
Oh God, I hate to be that guy, but I'm gonna say no. I think the inspiring character is so overdone, and there's only but so much you can do about that. But I think you'll like this part of the answer because it's kind of like a little So
whatever that is,
a little
okay.
So people would ask me, they were like, "What's your character?" And I would say, besides being British, of course, I'm like, I'm a real person. Like, it doesn't matter how nice you are, how pleasant you are, you're still going to get pissed off at certain things. Yeah. You're still not going to like someone disrespecting you. Like, if you fought hard to be a champion and you got screwed out of your championship the last night, you're not going to be smiling in your freaking entrance the next night. Right? So, like, I just feel like I'm a real person. That's kind of where I derive a lot of things from. And I don't feel like you have, I think what has hindered so many wrestlers over the years is they're so one-dimensional. Yeah. Or they've made their characters so one-dimensional. And I'm like, you can have layers. I'm like, just because I'm speaking about like my character, not me. I'm like, just because I'm an asshole doesn't mean like I don't want to help people.
Right.
Like, just because I said you're broke doesn't mean I'm not gonna give you $1.
Just because you said you had blue hair looks stupid.
Yeah. Doesn't mean you can't give you a hug.
Doesn't mean you can't give him a hug.
Yeah, I'm like, your hair's stupid, but you're cool. Like, you're fat and you're poor, but you're a nice person. You're nice. You brought me a sign. I mean, it doesn't change the fact that you're broke and poor. I mean, but hey, you brought me a sign. Thank you. I'm going to shout you out.
Keith, I don't know about you, but I could talk to this guy like all day.
Oh, I know. He has to come back.
Oh my God, yeah. We got to have you back. But if you could do us a favor, do us a solid, and that is if there's anybody out there that you think would like to come on here and tell their story, send them our way.
Okay. I would love for you guys to interview Nico so bad.
Sure.
He has a special place in my heart. Like, he's one of those people that's like a genuine, like, amazing human being. So I would love for you guys to interview Nico. He works so hard, and to just see him overcome so much. Like,
you send him our way.
I have to have Nico. Gotta have Nico Gray.
You send him our way, and we'll see what we can do. Absolutely.
I will.
Absolutely. And when we get out of here, when we're done, I'm going to send you the link to this show, and you can put it all over whatever you want to put it up. You want to share it on your Twitter, that's on you. That's cool.
Awesome. I definitely will. Want to get you guys some new subscribers. We can do that.
Appreciate it.
But I really hope to see you guys next month.
We will be there.
My hair will be done. So my hair has not been done for the last few months, and it's been driving me crazy. But you guys don't care. So I'm like, thank God.
We don't. No.
You guys don't care. I'm like, thank God. Thank God. So, but thank you guys so much for making me feel welcome.
Oh man, absolutely.
Loving me in all my mess.
We loved having you, man. You were so entertaining. Like I wish you nothing but the best and whatever you want out of professional wrestling or life for that matter. And man, it was great meeting you, great talking with you today. And we can't wait to see you wrestle again. And if anybody within the sound of my voice has not seen this guy wrestle, get your asses to Quakertown, Q-Mart, last Saturday in July, and you will see Theo Ivory in his glory.
And you will get a show.
You will definitely be entertained. Tune in tomorrow or tune in Tuesday, Keith. This Tuesday at 6 p.m. we have the new WWWA heavyweight champion Tony Batista live 6 p.m. on Tuesday. Special day, special time for us. That's his only day available. We got the champ. The champ is here.
I shouldn't share him. He beat me.
That's
what was
true.
that, Keith?
That's true. He did beat Theo.
He did beat Theo.
He beat me to get to Wyndham. Like
he right.
Yeah.
But I should kind of feel special because you beat me and then you challenged the world heavyweight champion. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, we were so glad to see that happen. We were so glad to be there. Keith and I were both wearing Tony Batista t-shirts yesterday, and
I saw you. If you don't have, listen, I'm pointing at you right now.
Keith or me?
I'm pointing at you.
Okay,
Miss Al.
Yes.
You better get you a Theo shirt from What a Maneuver.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we both better.
Well, I think my son.
Both.
Yes.
No, I think my son would want to wear one to the next show.
Keep in mind, I have 6 different designs. So you got a lot. You got a lot.
6 different designs there.
You got a lot to choose from. All right.
Follow this guy on Twitter. Follow him everywhere on social media. You get all that stuff. Where can you get Theo Ivory merchandise? Say it one more time.
So it's What a Maneuver, but I would just say go to my Twitter or go to my Facebook. It's _Theo Ivory. And the link in my bio is called All My Links. So you click on that, and in one spot, it has the link to my Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, my merch store, Snapchat. So all my links in one. So you don't have to worry about, like, what's the link to this or what's the link to that.
Awesome, my man. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We wish
you the best.
We wish you the best of luck.
Absolutely.
We'll see all you guys on Tuesday with the champ. And this has been Around the Turnbuckle.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you gonna do, brother? Oh yeah! Woo! What?